If you know everything there is to know about food and nutrition, this video is not for you. Go ahead and keep scrolling. If you want to learn a little bit more about food, nutrition, you found your video. First thing about food, food is energy. And that energy breaks down into three separate macronutrients. In the industry, they're known as carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Your carbs break down into glucose. Your fats break down into fatty acids. And your protein breaks down into amino acids. So, fun fact, we all do acid. Share that with your work group. They'll get a hoot. Okay, so the carbs or the carbohydrates, we get those mostly from foods that are sourced from the ground. So your fruits, your vegetables, your legumes have some carbohydrates there. Your grains as well. And then any sugar, glucose containing foods. Not just the hash sugar. That includes your drinks. If you're sipping on some juice or soda, that's a carbohydrate. Fats, those are typically like your oils, butters. You can also find them in foods like avocados, one of my faves. Boom. Protein. Protein, you're going to find that you can find plant-based proteins as well. Beans are a good source, nuts are a good source. I said plant beans, that's supposed to be plant-based. While your plant-based proteins will have protein, of course, they'll also have, one of the other two macronutrients, maybe some carbs or a little bit of fat. So it's not entirely. And that leads to my other point. Just because it makes this list, if it's a carb, doesn't mean it's doesn't have any protein or any fat. It's just that it's a negligible amount. So moving forward to protein sources, we have pork, chicken, beef, fish. Booyah. So those are the different sources we have for those different macronutrients. When we look at a balanced diet, we want to balance between the three macronutrients here. Usually for carbs, for somewhere between 40 to 60% of our entire diet. Fats will make up roughly 20%, and so will your proteins, roughly 20%, give or take. Most of our energy will come from carbohydrates, and that's because our brain loves glucose as our fuel, so do our muscles. But just because our bodies prefer doesn't mean we get our entire amount of nutrition and energy needs from carbs. That will lead to things like higher blood sugar levels, things like that, and you probably see some muscle wasting and some things with our hormones because we need fat and we need protein to sustain those other functions. So, the devil's in the details. When it comes to balancing a healthy plate, not only are we balancing between all the macronutrients, for instance, for carbs, not all carbs are created equal. We have carbs that can be divided amongst different classifications like starchy foods and non-starchy foods, high fiber, low fiber. So how do we navigate? So I tend to break it up this way. We're going to concentrate on the things that we may be missing out on. And that is, if I can draw or spell, we're going to focus on fiber. That's one. And then the other one our non-starchy foods. So our non-starchy foods will include a lot of things you find in a salad, typically lettuce, cucumbers, carrots that are not cooked, things like that. And then we're gonna de-emphasize or be mindful about our starches, which include potatoes, peas, corn, breads, rice, that sort of thing. I'm not saying no to starches, we're just saying practice mindfulness, moderation. Another key aspect is getting enough fiber. So typically, for women, want to get between 25 to 30 grams of fiber. Men, we need to bump it up to like 30 to 38 grams of fiber a day. So if you're emphasizing and focusing on those goals, sorry, my hand's blocking, you will be on track to balancing and achieving, what's the word I'm looking for? Balance, yes. Okay, next we have our fats. With our fats, we want to make sure we're getting enough high quality oils, I should say. So we're looking at our omega-3s, those are pretty good. Our plant-based fats and oils like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. And then I'm not saying that anything that comes from animal-based fats are bad for you. However, we will look to do those in moderation. So we're going to limit saturated fats. You can find saturated fats in butter, different processed foods. In addition to dairy, dairy can be another source of saturated fat. And I'm not saying dairy's bad, I'm just saying it will be a source of saturated fat. And then, like I mentioned before, we want to increase those, I shouldn't say plant-based, I should just, we'll say increasing high quality oils or lipids. So you can get them from some of the foods already mentioned. So your nuts and legumes will have some high quality fats. Your avocados, again, peanuts, peanut butter, flaxseed. So all those will contain high quality oils that we want to consume in our diet. Protein. When it comes to protein, because we know that some of the proteins will be a source of saturated fat, we want to prioritize lean meats, lean cuts. And I realize you can't see that, but I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Mind the junky table there. So you want to have your lean cuts, lean meats for your protein, and then getting a variety. Some of the benefits of getting a variety of different proteins would include, like for instance, if you use fish as a protein that you can rely on throughout the week, then you're going to ensure that you're getting some healthy omega-3 fatty acids, which that's anti-inflammatory, that's great. So again, looking at balance, this is a part of that roadmap to achieving balance. And this is a place to get started. I'm not saying this is a one-stop shop for learning everything about nutrition. However, the goal is to get a little bit more informed and gain a little bit more understanding each time we approach our nutrition plan for ourselves. So yeah, any questions, please leave me comments in the comment section. If you like this video, you found something helpful, leave me a comment. Also, liking helps the channel to grow and get it to others that can learn just like you learned in this video. And yeah, if you have any other ideas about what topics you'd like for me to discuss or elaborate on. Leave me comments on that too. I'd love to talk about that. So, all right, this video's getting long. Peace.